Residential report writing case studies, chapter 4, the uniform residential something continued. Square feet for parcels 1 acre in size or larger. The site size is required to be reported in acres to 2 decimal places. For example, a site may have 59,035 square feet. There are 43,560 square feet in an acre. Therefore, 59,035 divided by 43,560 equals 1.36 acre, which would be reported as 1.36 AC. Shape. This should be reported as a geometric shape. E.g., square, rectangular, triangular, flag, odd, irregular. View. Historically, Fannie and Freddie had provided little guidance in regard to this. As a result, appraisers provided a wide variety of responses in this area of the form. The Uniform Appraisal Dataset, UAD, changed all this by requiring standardized responses from a list of abbreviations. Although the appraiser can also select other if the appropriate view descriptor does not appear on the list. The UAD requirements only apply to loans that are sold to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or are FHA or VA loans. Not all appraisals using the URAR form are required to comply with the data standardization requirements of the UAD. End of page. Chapter 4, the uniform residential something, site section, zoning. Specific zoning classification. Generally, the residential zoning classification contains 2 parts, a letter and a number. The letter is normally R, which identifies the area as residential in character. The letter is normally followed by a number, which identifies the density allowed for that particular zoned area. For example, R1 stands for residential with a density of 1. Generally, the lower the number, the lower the allowed density for the area. This may vary from municipality to municipality, especially for communities with highly detailed and strictly enforced zoning requirements. Zoning description. The zoning classification only tells part of the story. R1 can mean different things in different locations. The zoning description must also be stated on the form. For example, low density, single family district. Zoning compliance. These terms are identified in the report. Legal refers to the fact that property is being used in compliance with the current zoning ordinance. Legal non-conforming identifies a grandfathered condition. The property was in compliance with previous zoning ordinances, but is not in compliance with the current ordinance. The current property use is allowed to continue in a legal non-conforming status. Properties falling into this category are allowed to continue to exist, but there are restrictions in place to ensure their eventual demise. If the improvement stands vacant beyond the stated time period outlined in the zoning ordinance, the property will have to be brought into compliance with the current zoning ordinance. If the improvements are damaged beyond a certain percentage or dollar amount, the property will have to be brought into compliance with the current zoning requirements. The provisions for elimination of the illegal non-conforming status are written into the zoning ordinance and will vary from municipality to municipality. No zoning. There is no zoning ordinance in effect for the area. This is common in some unincorporated areas. Land use may be controlled by deed restrictions. Illegal. This usually applies to the actual use of the site. The improvements are not being used in accordance with the allowable uses outlined in the zoning ordinance. This frequently refers to a house in a residentially zoned area being used for a commercial enterprise. It could also account for the single-family home being used as a multi-family apartment building without some sort of variance or special use permit from the zoning authority. Generally speaking, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will not purchase a mortgage on a property if its current use is not legal. Is the highest and best use, HBU, of subject as improved or as proposed per plans and specifications the present use? The form asks you to answer yes or no to this question. In most situations, you will find the highest and best use for residential properties to be their present use. If the subject property is a single-family home and single-family residential use is the only permitted use, then you do not have to engage in an in-depth analysis to determine the highest and best use. In this example, the present single-family use is the only allowable use for the property, so its current use would be the highest and best use. A reminder, simply checking the box indicating that the property's current use is the highest and best use is not a summary level of detail. To meet the requirements of USPAP, a summary of your support and rationale for the property's highest and best use must be included in the report. End of page.